Welcome to another video of career mode content here on the ChesnoidGaming channel. Today you will have the opportunity to vote on who will be the next club for our realistic Road to Glory series. I will go through in this episode and show you each club in question, the players at said club, the situation at the club, the financial situation, etc. before you then go to the link in the description to a straw poll and vote for who you would like me to use. Please don't vote until you've watched the full video so that you understand the situation at said club, unless perhaps you're a fan of one of the three clubs and you kind of know you're going to vote for that team. If you have a couple of teams you wouldn't mind me playing for, then do by all means vote for multiple clubs. If you don't mind which of the three I use, vote for all three. You can do exactly that on the straw poll. So we will be using the spreadsheet, but it is a new, improved, upgraded spreadsheet that is much more in detail than before, and I will in fact be doing a solo video for that because it's much more complex, and really, rather than just a little blurb in the download, I need to do a whole video telling you how to use it. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I might even do it unlisted and link to it from the first episode of the RTG when it starts. You already know the three clubs in question because you saw them on the thumbnail. So let's go through them one at a time and show you the situation at each of the clubs, and then you can decide where we start. The first option will be a side that have played Premier League football in their history. Bradford City, one of the biggest clubs at the level in League 2. They have a 1.5-star team. Rather understandably, critical domestic success to begin with to get the club out of the level that they are currently playing at. Founded in 1903, they're a club with a really big stadium for the level, a great foundation of base fans in terms of size of following for the level that should offer us the opportunity to have a half-decent financial start to life at the level. That said, the transfer budget isn't going to be huge. We will probably take the transfer budget from the Football Manager save, similar to how we did last year with the Cambridge one, so that we get a realistic idea of what a transfer budget might be for this club rather than taking the seemingly arbitrary standings that you get on FC. Obviously, at the minute it's showing in dollars, but it won't show in dollars, and we'll update stadium names, etc. Everything will be as realistic as we can possibly get it for the RTG when it starts. Bradford City are going to be your first option. Let me show you what the club is all about. But you can see this is going to be our default home ground, and Valley Parade is a very big ground, so we will be able to start with that ground in question. None of this matters at this stage. We'll show you the details that we start the RTG with when we get to episode 1. Let's show you what the squad looks like at Bradford first. The squad at Bradford is okay. None of the three options that we have for you today have an obviously sensational team that should be challenging for promotion immediately. So it is actually quite a difficult choice as to which club you think I should go for. With regards in goal, there's one obvious candidate. That would be Sam Walker. He's 6'6", but he's also 32, so not going to be lasting that much longer in terms of his career, although obviously goalkeepers have a bit more longevity to them with regards to the length of their careers. There is a 39-year-old Colin Doyle, who, yes, is probably near the end of his career, and then young 18-year-old Zach Haddy as the third option, although he is quite lowly rated and most certainly would probably be loaned out if we choose, or if you choose Bradford. By default, they play a 5-back formation. I almost certainly won't play a 5-back formation with Bradford, or with anyone really. I tend to prefer 4-backs, but we can experiment throughout the course of the save, of course. We might even look into what Bradford actually play IRL with their current manager and see what formation they play there, because sometimes FIFA isn't necessarily the best example of what is actually happening IRL, as you well know. So left-back wise, in terms of out-and-out left-backs, there is only Lewis Richards, who's younger at 22 years of age, 60 rated, and he's all right. He's got some pace, decent physicality. Then there are some older players still in the squad, as you can see. Paul Huntington, who's one of the higher rated centre-backs, is 36. Neil Byrne is 31. Then you've got Kieran Kelly, who's only 62, but 25 years of age, so he's got a little bit more life in him, although none of them really can move, which doesn't help. 55 pace, the fastest for Kieran Kelly. 68 for Aidan Baldwin, who's 61 rated and certainly should be pretty decent. Then actually on loan out, not at the club anymore, is Sam Stubbs at Cheltenham. Diabate is loaned in from League One Exeter. Czech Diabate is a player we actually had in the Realistic RTG last year at Cambridge. So we know about him. We know he's decent. Also in from League One is Jack Shepherd from Barnsley as well. So they're not actually, well, at least Shepherd isn't one of the highest rated centre-backs at the club. But he's young and could grow, so maybe he might be worth looking at in terms of longer term. Right back wise, there's someone in from Lincoln, Jay Ben, 57 rated, not that great. Pace, but not great anywhere else. Then with regards to other right back options, and presumably one of them could maybe play at left back if we need them to. Bradley Halliday is actually one of the best players at the club. Good pace, good physicality, not amazing defensively. Former Cambridge player, so I'm quite happy with Bradley Halliday at right back for me. If you guys choose Bradford, of course. Callum Johnson is the other go-to, and you can see that he too has pace and physicality, but doesn't really excel anywhere else. With regards to the midfield, this is where another couple of their higher-rated players come in, as well as some ageing players as well. There's Corey Evans, Northern Ireland. I hesitate to say international, but may well have a couple of caps. 33-year-old CDM. Then with regards centre mid, you have the ageing Richie Smallwood as well, formerly of Hull. We might have used him in the Hull save we did on FIFA 21, I can't recall. Current club captain, also 33 years of age. Then the younger Alex Patterson, who can play across the midfield seemingly, centre mid, right mid, cam at 62. Sarcevic centre mid and cam as well, 32 for him. Also can't really move. Smallwood is a little bit quicker. Corey Evans can't really move. So there is a lack of pace in some areas. On loan from League One is Joe Adams from Wigan, who can move and can dribble and has half-decent physicality, but is only a cam, so might depend on what formation we play. Jamie Walker is 31, but slightly high-rated, and he looks pretty good, actually. Can play at cam or centre mid, although he is peaked, as you currently see there. I've downloaded latest squads here. I'll do the same when we start on PC as well. But Walker looks okay as well. And obviously, we have the young option in Gabe Wadsworth, who, again, would probably go out on loan. Out-and-out left mids, there's Tyrrick Wright, only 22. And as you might have seen a moment ago, got decent pace. He's got left back as a position, but obviously 49 defending is probably not going to be one of his standout attributes there. Quick and can dribble. Passing could be okay. We're not going to delve into the specifics of stats, just looking at summaries here for the time being. On the right-hand side, Bobby Poynton, 20 years of age, 61 rated. One of the better younger players that are actually Bradford-owned. Pacey, can dribble. Again, passing and shooting, not spectacular, but we are in League 2 here, of course. And then, again, passing, dribbling, pace, Clark Aduor, 25 years of age, right wing, centre mid, left back. That's a selection, isn't it? In on loan from the Premier League is Ollie Sanderson, a striker by trade, but good physicality on him as well. 6 foot tall, only 20 at 61 rated. Elsewhere up top goal scorer from last season IRL is Andy Cook. He scored 30 goals in League 2 last year, or at least all told for the season. He can't really move though, but he is that big lump of a striker at 6'1" and 84 physicality, with some play styles there for him as well. Another young option in Harry Ibbotson, who again would go out on loan, but I don't know whether any of these players have good potential or not. That's part of where you guys come in, and of course part of the discovery of this as well. Verdane Oliver is 32, 6'2", similar to Cook, but a little bit quicker, but not as good in the finish or physically. And then there's Tyler Smith, who does have some pace, can dribble. Shooting's going to be okay for Tyler Smith. If we do play 2 up top, he would probably partner Andy Cook as a pair. Although Callum Kavanagh is a Bradford player, and at 20 years of age and 61 rated, with pace and can dribble and some physicality as well, he might be a go-to. And maybe Kavanagh and Smith would be the starting two, with Cook as that throw a big man up top to try and win a game late on kind of guy. That's the squad. There are 30 players in it, and only one of them is out on loan. But there are, of course, a number of loanees in. We will, of course, be tracking player registration rules for all of the competitions we're involved in accurately through the spreadsheet this time around, which is, again, where the complexity comes in, or part of the complexity comes in. 3 goalkeepers, 11 defenders, 9 midfielders and 7 attackers. Lots of players in lots of positions, a couple of weaknesses in the squad, but that's where the transfer budget and wage budget would come in, of course. And you guys would have to let me know in the comment section as well whether you think I should or should not have an open first transfer window. If you vote no, then I will probably have it as active, but not participate in it. The reason being, still as a bug in the game, if you start with the first transfer window disabled, you don't get emails when transfer bids come in. That is still a bug that's in the game, so we would look to avoid that. If you're happy with the opening transfer window being open, then obviously we will look to utilise it. We're not exactly going to have a lot of money to do a lot of things, so there probably wouldn't be much movement anyway. Bradford are option number 1. That's their squad. One of the biggest squads in the division. They finished in the playoffs 2 years ago. They finished 9th, I think, last year. And this year, so far this season in League 2, they are as follows. If you bear with me, just uno memento. In League 2, so far this season, Bradford are 11th. 6 wins, 7 draws and 5 defeats. 25 points, 5 points off the playoffs. Although MK Dons have a game in hand, but evidently Wimbledon are there on 30 points as well. Bradford are your first option for the League 2 beginnings of the realistic road to glory. Option 2 is, we'll do it in alphabetical order rather than the order in which they are on the thumbnail. Notts County is the next option. Again, critical domestic success expected of a club that recently came up from the National League with Wrexham, of course. But Wrexham bounced back-to-back promotions. Notts County did not. Again, another club that are sizable for the level with a great ground at Meadow Lane that will give us a decent financial opportunity with regards ticket sales, gate receipts, commercial revenue, etc. to maybe give us a bit of a head start, but obviously it's still not going to be great. Again, we will take the Football Manager details for transfer budget and wage budget, etc., so that we can get things as correct as we possibly can. Notts County's kits aren't amazing, if that plays a factor for you. We could potentially, of course, mod kits in later down the line. It's something I don't necessarily like to do because sometimes those mods can break when the game gets updated, etc., and I can't fix that myself without the mod being updated itself. But if you guys don't mind the kits being the way that they are, etc., then it really doesn't matter, does it? So let's show you what Notts County's squad's all about. Notts County have a similarly sized squad, as you can see. Well, actually, you can't see. It's behind me. 27 players in their squad as opposed to the 30 that were in Bradford's. Again, a similar sort of level for the majority of players. Sam Slocum was their number 1, I think, when they were in the National League. Alex Bass is now the number 1 goalkeeper and, judging by ratings, etc., in FC terms, understandably so, of course, newly at the club in 2024, as it says on his profile there, the number 1 at Notts County. 6'3", 26 years of age, hopefully would grow. That gives us a medium-term goalkeeper right off the bat at Notts County. With regards to the fullbacks, Sorola, Nick Sorola, Cypriot, no idea if he's an international lot, one imagines not being a League 2 player, who is 64 rated, to be fair, left mid as well, quick, can dribble, and then looks pretty all-round with the rest of his stats. Would probably be the go-to left-back at the beginning, I would imagine, although we'll have a look further down. Again, a lot of centre-back options at the club, as was the case at Bradford. There's 32-year-old Rod McDonald, 27-year-old and a slightly higher-rated Robbie Cundy. He was on loan at Cambridge. You may remember him from one of the Cambridge RTGs we did in previous years. Neither of them, again, can move that much. Kyle Cameron is out on loan at St Johnstone from the club. Might be someone that could be a financial earner for us later down the line, or at least save us some money with regards to the wage budget later down the line. Then there's 26-year-old Matthew Platt, who looks like he could be pretty decent. Again, not very quick, but decent defending and physicals. And then Jacob Bordeaux, who is even younger still at 24, pace and physical and some decent defensive stats. So he looks like he could be pretty tasty. Cameron can play left back as well, but obviously with his lack of movement, you would imagine he wouldn't. Lewis Macari is a younger player, but still only 60 rated, so there is the opportunity to be involved as part of a squad player for him. But obviously with Lucas Ness being young as well at 22 and higher rated and, well, basically better, he would probably be the priority. But Macari, there's no reason why Macari couldn't go out on loan and grow, certainly. With regards right back, again, one option there. It's Kellen Gordon. He too can play at right mid, supposedly. Got pace, got physicality. Kind of all-round in most other areas, although defensively not that strong. But evidently 62 rated at least for potential simulated games. In on loan from Tottenham would be George Abbott. 18 years of age, CDM that can play at right back. Got pace. To be fair, on paper, potentially got better defending than the 62 rated Gordon. So maybe would be a positional change for him for us, or at least someone that could at least be utilised in a number of different areas. With regards to the central midfield options, again, quite a few. Youngster Riley Reynolds would obviously go out on loan, you would imagine. Then there's 30-year-old Curtis Edwards, who can't move, but looks pretty decent in most other stats. Then Matt Palmer, who's currently captain. He looks like a great player for the central midfield area. Sam Austin is okay. Got some pace. Could maybe, as a result, be utilised in a wider area, perhaps. Then Scott Robertson, 61 rated and 22, a slightly younger option. Looks like he could be a grower, potentially. Another youngster in Jack Hinchy, although he's 21 already, so 58 rated at 21 is not ideal. 59 rated at 27 is worse, though, and obviously 52 rated is nowhere near where we'd need someone to be involved. David McGoldrick is a cam by default, but would probably be utilised as a striker in game, I would imagine. And then Daniel Crowley is, as far as I can recall, the highest rated player at the club. Cam, but obviously can play centre mid as well, and will be one of the best players at the squad, at the club, in the squad. If you voted for me to start at Notts County, another youngster that would go out on loan would be James Sanderson. A little bit of pace, maybe some growth there, but probably unlikely if we're wanting to get promoted to League One in the relatively shorter term. With regards to wide options, obviously Jody Jones is a go-to and has been for a while at Notts County. Molten international, I imagine. Very quick and decent passing and dribbling as well. Can play left back supposedly too, but with 49 defending, one imagines that Jody Jones would be a wing back at best, at the most deep. But could be a left mid, most certainly, isn't it? I would imagine in the sort of formation that we will play. No right mids by default. There are a couple of left wingers in Josh Martin, 63 rated, 22 years of age. There is growth opportunities there, 79 pace and 66 dribbling. Then Connor Grant, similar. Can play right wing as well, and centre mid actually. And to be fair, looks quite well rounded for central and slightly deeper positions perhaps as well. In on loan from League One is Giovanni Brown as a striker, 64 rated, another former Cambridge man, 29 but 5'9", so he's good, but he might need a strike partner. Said strike partner could be Kedwin Scott, who was one of the go-tos in the National League, hasn't really burst onto the Football League scene. Of course, no Langstaff at Notts County anymore. He was sold. My brain is telling me Millwall in the Championship. I might be wrong. Do feel free to correct me. In terms of a strike partner for Giovanni Brown, Alassana Jatta could be that man. Not very physical. Rephrase, not very quick. Probably not going to be that agile at 6'4", but at 63 rated and with 61 shooting is going to be decent, but not a massive amount of striking options at Notts County compared to the options we would have at Bradford. But they are the two kind of not sleeping giants is kind of the wrong phrase, because neither of them are giant clubs, but they are two of the bigger clubs at the level right now. And of course have great facilities already as well, with big grounds. The third and final option for you is a smaller club with a smaller ground, with a smaller budget, but a little bit of a link to one of the saves we did earlier on in the year. Of course, we started a Manchester United save as the first one on FC25, and Salford City are owned by former Manchester United players. The class of '92 were very heavily involved at Salford City. What the numbers would be in terms of transfer budget from FM, I'm not sure, but by default in FC, they have the biggest transfer budget of the three clubs that we have available for you. Equally, a 1.5-star team here, but less expectation from the board. Medium domestic success and just very low across everything else, which would probably come in handy. Full disclosure, I'm going to go no sacking for this save so that we can stay with the same club throughout. What we're not doing on the second channel right now is staying at the club that we're doing in a save there. Once we've got the sliders set for this save, we're going to be starting a journeyman save on the second channel where we move globally. Probably going to be starting in the A-League in Australia, and with a view to moving anywhere in the world throughout the course of that save. That's something that might interest you. By all means, check out the second channel. There'll be a link to that in the description down below as well. That save will start soon once I've done my gameplay testing, because we'll use the same sliders for that save as we're going to use for this save here on the RTG on the main channel. So Salford City, the next one. Obviously a smaller ground for them, more humble beginnings, but perhaps with more room to grow, with the potential of the class of '92 being involved and maybe utilising some of those links with potentially Manchester United being a parent club as an option. Let's see what the squad looks like at Salford to begin. Salford with the biggest squad of the three, 31 players, so not massive, obviously. 31 compared to the 30 at Bradford and 27 at Notts County. Only the two goalkeepers, one of which is Jamie Jones, who's 35, and then Matt Young is in on loan from Sunderland. So there is immediately some attention that needs to be drawn to certain areas that you can see there. At fullback, at least there's two left-backs at this club, but you'll notice already a lack of centre-back options at Salford. Luke Garber, formerly of Everton, who obviously we've just been using on FC. 31 years of age, but 64 rated, pretty decent. A backup of Kevin Burko, who is quick, but can't really do anything else. Probably wouldn't go out on loan initially because would need the depth, but probably a player that would be looked to be replaced not too far into the save. Three centre-back options. James Chester, he's 35. He can't really move, but would be solid enough to start with. Curtis Tilt, 32, so slightly younger. Can move a bit more and is more physical, but perhaps not as good on the ball or slightly as good defensively. And then a young loanee, Stephen Negru, in on loan from Championship now, Oxford, who is the most manoeuvrable and best centre-back at the club, and only 21. But obviously there is room for improvement in that area of the squad with regards depth, if not in terms of the quality that's immediately available. There are 4 right-backs at the club, although Tom Edwards can play centre-back, so can Liam Shepherd, but 5'9" and 5'10" respectively. I don't know how usable they would be. Just want to see what jumping is like. 66 for Liam Shepherd. Probably wouldn't use either of them as a centre-back, if I'm honest. But at least that adds a bit more potential depth there, perhaps. 64 rated Tom Edwards would be the go-to in that right-back role, although 55 pace is not great. 71 pace on Liam Shepherd is better, but rather evidently Tom Edwards is better in every other stat that is important to the position and is much higher rated. Haji Mnoga is younger, got pace, got physicals at 6'1" and 78 jumping. I mean, there's probably the change to centre-back. If he had the pace of Shepherd, at the pace of Edwards, and Edwards had the pace of Mnoga, it's obvious. It's not quite so obvious, perhaps, with the stats being as they are, but with the height being as it is, it might be some early manoeuvrable options for us in those defensive areas. Also at right back is Tosin Olopade. He'd definitely go out on loan. 75 pace, can't really do much else. 50 rated. At CDM, there are a couple of options. 60 rated Osama Ashley at 24 years of age, and 22 years of age Josh Osterfield, both of which would be all right, but maybe not go-tos to begin with. With regards to centre mids, there's again not many. Matty Lund, 33 years of age, Northern Irish player, can't really move that much. Then the slightly better Ryan Watson, who's 30, can move, good physicals, can dribble, but doesn't necessarily excel anywhere. Then Tyrese Fornah, who's A, one of the best players at the club, and B, looks pretty solid, in on loan from Derby County, but would be a high earner. We do have to factor in financials for everything, of course. I think Tyrese Fornah does actually have his real-life face in the game as well, although you can't quite see it underneath me here. And then Jez Davies is another youngster that would probably go out on loan, although maybe we'd need him for depth early doors. Ben Woodburn is a cam, but probably more likely to be utilised out wide, more so than centrally, although it depends what formation we'd go for. With regards to the wide options, there are quite a few. Conor McElhaney, 31. Good pace, decent dribbling, a go-to option on the left. Hagiba Delakun can play on either side. You will remember Hagiba Delakun from the Hull City save we did on FIFA 21. Still only 28, 6'2", pace, dribble, can shoot. Physical's okay, got some play styles. One of the higher rated players at the club would probably be on the right-hand side. Then there is also a youngster in Kelly and Mai who is very quick, but would almost certainly go out on loan because of the squad depth we have elsewhere in that position. As you can see, quite a few right mids as well. John Taylor, he was the guy that used to be electric quick, I believe, for Shrewsbury back in the day. Now only 72 pace. Then there's Daniel Chesters, who's young at 22. Doesn't have great defending despite having right back on his positional list, but would be all right. And then Kyrell, presumably Malcolm, a 53 rated right winger who again has some pace but not really much anywhere else, would almost certainly go out on loan. And then Robbie Cleary, a Canadian, decent pace, again not great, but decent squad depth. With Malcolm going out on loan, he's got 4 years to try and catch up to where Cleary is right now. No left wingers to speak of, though, but there are a lot of strikers, as you can see. In on loan from Everton is Francis Okoronkwo. Tall, 6'2". Some pace, actually, could be decent. Cole Stockton is an extremely good goal scorer for the level. One of the joint highest rated player, I think, at the club at 65 would be the go-to starting striker for the club. Also out on loan, intriguingly, at League One, Northampton Town, is Callum Morton. Quick, decent dribbling. I don't know if there's a future fee involved there, but decent physicals too. We might end up losing Callum Morton. I don't know what his future looks like IRL. We could perhaps research that before we go any further with regards to what his future looks like. Junior Luamba is a 21-year-old youngster who's 58 rated but got decent pace. Then in on loan is Killian Kouassi from Blackpool, 62 rated, joint second highest rated striker at the club, would be the second highest rated striker at the club for the first season with Morton out on loan. Pace, can dribble, might be able to shoot half decently. And then out on loan at Morecambe is Marcus Dackers, who doesn't look great, if I'm honest. So all three squads are about where the others are. Some excel in one area but are weaker in others. Some weaker in areas where others excel but are stronger where some of the other sides don't necessarily have much quality or depth. So it is, as far as I'm concerned, quite a difficult vote to call. I did a test vote on social media a few weeks ago, which was weighted one way, but I'm not going to sway your vote any which way. Please vote for whichever club you would be most likely to want to watch and more importantly, watch longer term for this realistic road to glory. We will be using a much more in-depth spreadsheet. I can give you a glimpse of it here. Now, we've been doing a test save with Cambridge United, but as you can see, this looks a lot different to last year with eligibility in here, with a full squad tracker. Spend tracker looks slightly different with now a profit loss column, etc. And there's a stats dashboard tracking kind of club records, so to speak. But this looks a lot different and is implemented in a much more different way as well. So I am going to need to do a bona fide one-off, this is how you use the bloody spreadsheet video. But I'm really excited about this save. You guys loved the RTG that we did with Cambridge last year with the original spreadsheet. I dare say this is going to be significantly better yet further still. So let me know which way you voted in the comment section down below. Let me know the way you feel about the transfer window being open or closed, or theoretically closed, at least for me, for the first window. And hopefully you guys will enjoy this save. Of course, we will have Patreon players involved. If you would like to join the Patreon to be involved, then there's a link in the description down below. If you'd like to just join the Patreon at a lesser level just to contribute to the ongoing channel, then that would be great. But obviously there's no incentive to do, not incentive, there's no necessity to do so. By all means, it is entirely voluntary. Don't feel pressured into to financially contributing to the channel. We will be recording everything live, of course, over on the Twitch channel and the YouTube stream channel. So check the links in the description to those. But that is a very important video. The most important video, I'd say, on all of FC25 so far. So let's see which way it goes. And I will see you with the next episode of anything on the channel in episode 1 of the Realistic RTG. But where do we start?